always has to be a shot at somebody.
No.
They're never clean.
They have to run. That's the only shot they have.
They do it for 82 games. We're about to find out.
He already has shown what he's capable of.
Did surprise me. I thought we were going to hang in there.
This makes me think that we do need to be humble.
I actually think you're the only one who deserved that beat.
Check it out, Jimmy Toscano. What are we looking at there?
Voting for me. Oh.
Drew Holiday.
I see
hugs,
Drew hugging it up, dapping it up.
and eventually we're going to see our man.
Your godson, where is he?
There he is. Rob D. White. Hugs, hugs, hugs.
Rob. All love between these two.
Nothing but love for Rob.
It's good to see Rob playing basketball, doing that thing that we've seen him do once in a while.
I tweeted this, Jimmy, and again, alternate universe, Rob Williams is the best basketball player who ever lived. Somewhere out there, that universe
In your
exists.
universe, yeah.
It's possible you'll be transplanted out there, and Rob Williams, everyone will be like, "Yeah, of course, he's the best." I mean, he's the GOAT. Is this a debate?
You mean this guy? And they point to a statue of him.
Yeah, exactly right. All hail Rob Williams. Yeah, that universe exists. But sadly, it's not this one. Yeah, because of everything. But anyway, I want to quickly give a hat tip to Jimmy Toscano, who was basically shoveling snow all day today. But look at poor Jimmy had a rough day. Taking one for the team, jumping on.
I might not make it.
He's not going to be here for the long haul. So let's go hard.
Let's just talk Pats and get it over with.
For the few minutes, is this Patriots postgame show 2.0? Maybe. Jimmy and I
familiar.
Jimmy and I, did our thing.
We did a good hour last night.
Hour plus. And I will have to say the majority of this game was about as exciting as the second half of the Pats Broncos. This was, and again, I tweeted at one time, almost untalkaboutable, this game. But talk is what we do. And here we are. Deep. Yeah. And we will talk. We will talk. We're going to dig deep. I know people love in the camera. You know what it is? The app we're using gave us a 4K option, which normally didn't. The camera's always been good. It's
do I have a 4K option?
It's the hardware. It's the hardware is great. The platform we're using here didn't have a 4K option, only had 1080p. It has 4K, and that's why I look clean right now. Exactly.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do that. Nope. Never mind.
My mic is a bit quiet, I'm being told by our friend Dirk. I'll give it a little pop.
Sound good to me.
Now I've got it all. I've got it all going now.
Am I in 4K?
I'm feeling good. Anyway, let's get into this game. Celtics Blazers trying to avenge a bad loss to Portland. We finally got to see Rob. We finally got to see Drew play here, and it makes me sad. It's sad.
It's not bitter. Bittersweet might be the word, right? I think Celtics did what they had to do in those moments to acquire the players that they acquired to win, and then they had to depart with them for whatever reason. So you got a little taste of both with Rob and Drew, right? I mean, two different situations the Celtics were in at the time, but they had to do what they had to do. So
the Rob thing will never not make me sad. I hate seeing these guys getting stuck in purgatory, which is what happened here. And poor, Holiday, look, bounced from Milwaukee, came here, had a chip on his shoulder, won right away. Felt pretty good about it. It's less about the fact that he got traded, because I guess that's the business. It's more that everybody just talked about him being cooked, which bothered me a little bit, because he's not cooked, Jimmy. He's not cooked. He's still going on basketball. Someone took my. This was a tough day.
You just had like an moment in the middle. That doesn't look right.
What the hell is that?
Want to get away?
But yeah, look,
he's
yeah,
not
and I
cooked,
know.
John. But he's not cooked. But let's be honest.
Yeah.
The best ability is availability, and Rob Williams hasn't been available, unfortunately.
Neither is
Feels
Holiday
like
this year. Yep.
neither is Holiday, right? And obviously those are guys at two different points in their careers. It feels like Drew Holiday could retire tomorrow and have a Hall of Fame NBA career. Rob Williams can't get out of his own injury path. And that's the problem with Rob Williams is constant, rest day or a day off or pain management, whatever you want to call it. That's been Rob Williams' career. And I don't know if Portland is the place for him to get back to where he needs to be. I don't know if it's the right environment. I don't know if it's the right team. I don't know if it's the right coaching staff or training staff or whatever. It feels like Simons has enjoyed his time in Boston coming from Portland. And I think he had to adjust to going from one organization to another. Rob might be a guy that needs that push that a guy like Joe Mazzulla can give. And maybe a reunion someday isn't out of the question, John. Let's not give hope on that. There's a chance. But is Rob washed? No. Is he going to constantly be a guy that you can't depend on? Yes.
He's not the same guy. You see it in small flashes, but he looks like he's remember when he came back from injury and everybody yelled at me because I was like, oh, he's not as explosive, and everyone's like he's saving it. And I think Jimmy, your stance was like it's like a video game. He's only got so many power-ups, and he's only got a few he can use, so he's really picking and choosing his spots. That's kind of what he looked like tonight as well. Most of the time, he's just dancing around the perimeter. He's still got tremendous basketball sense. He's a really good passer. He's good at spacing the floor. He's good at staying out of the way. He's just not super involved. He wasn't like, and he had one rebound tonight. He didn't crash the boards at all. He didn't, He had one block. He had that nice play where he pinned it on White, but they called that a foul. But there's just, and then he got up one time, he was out in transition another time. For the most part, he's just kind of floating around there, which is definitely a bit of a bummer.
That's how I feel.
Watching him play. We're gonna get to Joe Mazzulla, and then I'm gonna fix these problems that I'm staring here, looking around the room for.
Start with Jack.
Joe, obviously Amari got the start the other night, played 10 minutes tonight, up to 25. What did you see from him in this one that made you want to go with him for so many minutes?
Just a good matchup, one for the length that they have on their bigs, Klingon and Rob, and then his ability to screen. They just do such a good job of the ball pressure and the pickup points, and so having another guy out there that can create separation for our guards, they did a good job on both ends of the floor.
And then I know you mentioned this increased pressure being a trend around the league lately. Is there a formula for you guys specifically to sort of getting around that and beating it and still maintaining your offensive flow?
Well, I mean, I think the game kind of presented that. In the first half, they only had 3 offensive rebounds, and they didn't get to the free throw line, so we didn't have to play against it as much because we were able to get stops, we were able to get out and kind of play our free flow and play. And then in the second half, we put them at the free throw line, and they had 7 offensive rebounds, so the game just kind of slowed down, and it was kind of at their pace for the majority of the second half. So, but I thought our defense kept us in it. We were still able to defend even though we were fouling, but we still competed. But it just kind of slowed the game down and mucked it up, and we were forced to execute in the half court. So, we were pretty good at that.
Joe, back to Amari. He seemed to, when he got the start in Chicago, seemed to be kind of maybe thinking a lot out there. He seemed to be very tentative. Then first quarter to third quarter, he kind of improved, and then in this game he improved maybe a little bit more. Is that just a response to the coaching? How quickly is he picking things up?
I mean, I think it's a response to him. I think also it's just, playing against different matchups. Chicago's a much faster, more free-flowing dribble drive type team, and tonight was more of a slugfest to where he can kind of impact the game on both ends of the floor. And so I think a little bit of it is, this matchup really suited him and his strengths. Were kind of highlighted in his ability to set screens for us and his ability to help protect the rim and rebound. But it's also, his work ethic. I mean, our system is constantly changing, and so you have to be able to make reads on the fly on both ends of the floor, and it's a credit to him and our player development staff, but also to his teammates. He's with Nimi and X and Chris and the rest of the bigs that we have, and those guys do a great job just communicating with him and kind of showing them the lay of the land based on how it's been for them the last couple of years.
And with all the screening you guys do and all the reads these guys have to make, is throwing a new center in there.
Luka too. Sorry, he wasn't here tonight, but Luka's been a part of that as well.
Right, but is throwing a new center in there, Amari, whoever. How disruptive is that? Like, how much of an adjustment is it to go out there because of the timing that you need for all of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it again, to your point, it takes some time. Based on who we're playing against, what we're running and what the reads are. But I think a lot of it comes from defensively. What you're positioning defensively. Am I helping? Am I not helping? Pick and roll depth, just the communication there. So, again, you rely on the players' work ethic. You rely on the staff. You rely on the alignment in the G League to win. I know even when he's in Maine, Phil and the guys are running the same system with the same language, and so they're just constantly getting reps.
Joe, you mentioned you thought the defense kept you guys in it.
I mean, I meant more our competitiveness. We still fouled a lot in there, but I just thought we made them take when we weren't fouling. I thought we were able to make them take some tough shots. So I just thought our competitiveness kept us in it, as opposed to like our tactical defensive stuff.
Is that what stood out to you most about the defensive effort?
Yeah. Like I said, I think the first half was us playing great two-way basketball. I thought our offense was good, but our offense was good because they didn't have any offensive rebounds. So we didn't foul. Second half, they kind of turned up the pressure a lot. We were competing, but we weren't executing. I thought that kept us in it, and I thought we were forced to have to execute in the half court, which they make the game look ugly, but I thought we did a good job of executing that.
I mean, this isn't like summer league where you can really work with Amari and kind of pull him aside. Like, he's learning on the fly in a game you guys need to win.
Yeah.
What's that process like? You're literally, I think late in the fourth quarter, you pulled him aside. I know Jalen was talking to him, like, you're trying to teach this kid how to play NBA basketball in a game and he's playing meaningful minutes. What's that process like of keeping your patience with him, understanding he's going to make mistakes, but also just teaching him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's keeping the patience on the stuff that you have to teach and losing your patience on the stuff that it has to be a non-negotiable, regardless if you're playing out in the park or if you're playing, in the NBA. It shouldn't matter. So I think it's just understanding what the differences are in that. But to me, two things, to your point. One, it just validates everybody's position, to the fact of, yes, we do have to win the game, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to play the guys who, give it everything they got every single day, whether we finished the half with Ron the other day as well in Brooklyn the first night of a back-to-back. So it just validates the work, because if you don't give them chances to validate it, then they're not going to work hard. And I think it validates the staff, because at the end of the day, I have to speak to Amari as if up until the point where he checks into the game, there's a full level of trust that everything the staff is telling him up to that point, he already knows, and so we could just kind of go. So it's just a credit to those guys.
Does it test your patience?
Absolutely, yeah. But it's part of it. It's part of building it's part of the relationship building, and I think at the same time, like one of the greatest gifts you can give young players is coaching them really hard, because you get into a situation where they may not get that all the time, and I think that's is holding them to the higher standard is something that they should want, and I think. So I don't know if it's impatience as much as like, hey, like, regardless of who you think you are, I still think there's a standard that we can get to, and we got to do it. That's just how it goes.
Anthony made some big plays on defense tonight, forced a few turnovers. What did you see from him at that end?
Just his continued growth. I mean, he had the steal. I think we got to play on that. He had, Grant tried to post him in front of our bench. He knocked it out. I thought it could have been out. We may have been able to challenge that one, but we were down a timeout and we couldn't risk it. But just his competitiveness on both ends of the floor. I thought he helped us offensively in the first half and really helped us defensively in the second half. But just really starting to see the kind of, the two-way player. And we talk about Amari and all these guys and their willingness to want to be coached and work and just get better. And the staff and the time that they put into it, it's you're kind of seeing that.
Joe, a little off topic, but Ron Harper was selected for the Rising Stars game.
Yeah.
You mentioned you played him the other night in the New York game. What at his best, like, what does he provide for you guys?
Yeah, I want credit to it's congrats to him. That's kind of cool that they have a family. That the three of those guys are going to be together out there. That's pretty amazing. To me, again, it's just trust. I mean, I watch him work out when he's with us. The other side of that is like the professionalism. So, when he gets there early, he's in the weight room doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's in the treatment room if he needs to be. He communicates at a high level. So there's just a level of trust there that, his shooting obviously it helps a ton. He's a secondary ball handler, and I think his defense is good. Any time where in games the day after, he's constantly pushing to become a better defender. So, just like the other guys, if we put him out there, he's going to impact winning. Thanks.
All right. John? John? Oh, no. I think Zannis is frozen, folks. He's been all over the map. There you go. John, you there?
I'm back. Yeah.
Oh
I froze. I was trying to unfreeze, and what I heard, the first thing I heard you say was, "I think Zannis is frozen, folks." But I did. I circle of death for a second, and then I was, I'm back.
He's back from the dead.
I'm back. So interesting, Jimmy, because why does Joe show rookie Amari Williams patience where he shows no one else patience? Because that is an interesting approach. I like that. That's the point. And very honest in his response where he said, and we're going to talk about Amari Williams anyway, but
sure,
because it's interesting that he's just thrown into the fire and playing here so suddenly after an emergency call up, basically a couple of games ago, and then he starts and then he gets real rotation minutes. And again, Keita was sick, Garza is out. You understand the big shortage, but I mean, they've gone without guys before and not really cared. They play who they play, and they play, whoever gets in Joe's circle of trust. It's really hard to get in Joe's circle of trust, and he's said, as Baylor Shireman can attest, that he hates rookies. So what is it about Williams that gets his that Joe has decided to exercise patience with him?
I mean, it's $1 million question. I have no idea. Noah might be able to answer that. She is the main Celtics whisperer. So that might be good question for her. But I will say, in the short amount of time that I've watched Williams, it does feel like he's learning quickly. It feels like he's comfortable in the role that he's in. And like I said in the last show or two, John, there is certainly a role for a young backup big on this Celtics team. If there's a void anywhere in this roster, it's at that 5 position with, Keita and Garza being your first 2 guys. I mean, they were playing Minot at center at one point. I mean, obviously not traditionally, but there's certainly a need for that position. And I think when you have a young guy like Amari who's showing signs, I think Joe is obviously, and he said in his post-game interview, it's, in his opinion, he's doing them a favor by coaching them hard and coaching them up. I think it's different with Amari because Amari's going back and forth to Maine a little bit, and he's getting it from both teams and whatnot. But I wouldn't say that he's in the circle of trust, John. I think that he's giving him an opportunity and certainly minutes. He's getting a little bit of minutes here, some burn there. But we've seen it with just about every young guy on this team. 1 minute you're playing, 1 minute you're starting, 1 minute you're DNP CD. And so while we're seeing Amari in this role right now, doesn't mean to me that we're not going to see him sit in the bench and miss games, not due to injury,
Definitely
but just
not.
due to not playing. But I like that they are giving him an opportunity because me and Bobby have said it. It's not just about winning games this year, and you've said it too, John. It's about developing guys and seeing what you have. It's a perfect opportunity to see what you have in Amari. It's like last year with Drake May, not to compare the two, but John, you were clamoring for Drake May to play. Start the year with Drake May. Why? Because then you'll know what you have. You'll know if you have something and you haven't stunted his growth, and you don't have to waste another year of this guy wondering if he's a guy that can play for you.
Does me being slightly ahead of the Drake May curve, not in terms of him being good, in terms of him needing to play and not necessarily stunting his growth by playing, does that make up for Romeo?
No, because I would actually go the opposite.
Shit.
I would go the opposite. I don't think those 6 games had anything to do. Obviously, he didn't need to play them. He obviously didn't need to play in those games last year, May, to be where he's at now. And I think you could have potentially, it's all what could have been. You could have potentially got hurt in those first few games. That offensive line stunk, but it's not looking much better. The offensive line hasn't played.
Yeah. You can't cross sports. Yeah, I can cross sports. I cross sports all the time.
All the time.
I cross sports all the time. It's because I know so little about each one. I have to combine them all.
We were talking playoff baseball on the football show.
I did, but that was a good one. That was a good analogy because that's what it felt like. Did I blink out again?
You did.
Oh, no. Oh, Jimmy.
I see you. I mean, I hear you.
You can hear me, but you can't see me. It says my camera's unplugged, but it's not unplugged because I didn't unplug it.
We can hear you, but we can't see you. John, this happened to me with This is why I had to have Amit emergency send me something new. All my like cameras, my microphones were all being like unread in the middle of the show. They were just crapping out. You might have to go. You know what, John? It's because you're in 4K.
Yeah.
You got to get off that 4K.
I got to figure out, Amit, get me off this 4K. I don't know how to do it.
Put yourself on it, I think. You got to go to the settings. You got to go to settings, go to camera, and then you can camera resolution it down, from what I remember. So it's just me going solo. So getting back to Amari, though, Amari Williams, kind of poetic in a way to see Amari Williams in there tonight, not starting, but in there getting solid minutes on a night where Rob Williams makes his return, because I do think there are some similarities. Obviously, two guys that can have a big presence interior, two guys that are heady basketball players. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that Williams, obviously, if you're following him at all in Maine, you know that he's been hitting some triple-double. He's been hitting the triple-double mark up there. So he's one of those bigs that can pass. He can defend. The shooting's not there with Williams, but again, it wasn't really there with Rob either. When Rob was on this team, we were all begging Rob to extend that game out to 12 feet, 15 feet. Don't shy away from those little mid-range jumpers. And obviously the Celtics as a team got away from that style. But that was the one thing I think a lot of Celtics fans were waiting to see from Rob is, can he expand his offensive game? That would really, really, really put him in that upper echelon of bigs right now, because where's the league trending? It's shooting bigs. We're not there yet with Amari. Obviously, we haven't seen a lot from him at the NBA level, but I will say what we have seen of him and what he's been asked to do, he's done well enough in my eyes that he should continue to see playing time, maybe see those minutes creep up. And of course, Garza's hurt right now, but even if Garza's not hurt, you've got Queta and Garza, two guys that have played above their pay grade for sure this year. Two guys that have, I think, exceeded expectations and in their own right have earned playing time. Bobby made a good point a week ago. Rare good point for Bobby. Just kidding. We love Bobby. When the rumors were coming out that, the Celtics were in the market for a big time center. Do I think they're going to pull the trigger on a big time center before the trade deadline? No, I don't. But it does remind you that they're aware of the void at that position. Fans are aware of it, of course. And last week, both Garza and Queta fouled out, and ultimately forcing Boston to go with Amari in big minutes, by the way. And to his credit, he stepped up. He made an unbelievable pass on the Hauser inbounds to Pritchard in the overtime, or was it in the fourth quarter? I forget which one it was, to go down by 2. And then you obviously had the big block in the overtime there to kind of seal that Celtics win. So 2 big plays from Amari in small minutes, allowing him, again, to maybe crack the rotation moving forward. So good little spurts of Amari that you kind of saw with Rob, and that's kind of what caused John to fall in love with Rob. It was the idea of Rob. It was the Rob that we saw in spurts, and we nicknamed him Rob Stonk, because at the time stonks were just like going crazy, the stonk market. And one minute it was down, and then next it was sky high, and that was Rob Williams, literally and figuratively, because the guy could jump out of the building. So I do think it's fitting that Rob Williams made his return tonight, right around the same time that Amari Williams has kind of shown himself on this Celtics team. So where we're talking about what are we going to talk about from this game? And I do think Amari Williams is a big one, and obviously the comparison there with Rob. So that's one way to go here. The other one is Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday plays the TD Garden tonight. He got his Garden tribute, as he should have.
Jimmy, I think I'm back, and
you are back.
Got me, buddy?
Welcome.
Sorry,
Yep.
I can't explain it. Camera it's telling me it's unplugged. I'm staring at it plugged. It's plugged. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the Amari Williams.
Yeah, go ahead. I just went on for him. I just went on about Amari for a bit. So let's.
I know, no. I mean, I'm listening. I can hear the whole thing. I'm just
okay.
fiddling with this friggin' camera. So sorry. The Amari Williams thing I wanted to chime in on. I guess the thing I like most about him is I don't know about his ceiling, but he doesn't look sped up. And I think that that's the thing you have with most rookies. And we look at every single person they've brought in. I mean, Ugo is sped up, but in a good way. Because he's just a maniac, right?
That's just who he is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's who he's.
Oh no, I think we're losing John again.
Like, Jordan Walsh, 2 years in,
Guys, tell me if we're losing John or if it's just me. Tell me if we're losing John or if it's just me. I think we are losing John. So John's going to come back at some point. Maybe he's going to take my advice. Just use the laptop camera because the camera that you're plugging in is not working.
I legit blame Amit.
Oh God, we got 2 Johns now.
I blame Amit's bad Denver Wi-Fi. That's what I blame.
Okay, you're back.
But the thing I like the most about Amari is he doesn't look sped up at all. And we talked about, Romeo was the opposite. He was so slowed down. I thought he was going to I wanted to check for a pulse. Neesmith was crazy sped up. He's just crashing into people, played 23 seconds of great defense and then literally just like body slam somebody. That lasted for years. He's still doing it to an extent. Walsh gets all spazzy and sped up too. Amari kind of just seems to go with the flow. And I like what I see out of him. And again, he has impact here. I mean, what are you going to say here? 2 blocks, 1 steal, 7 rebounds.
Sure.
He's playing. He's just playing. He was doing nothing before. He's doing nothing.
Absolutely.
And here he is doing stuff.
We love stuff.
So it's found money. It's the same way like Kate, all of a sudden we're like, yeah, whatever, Kate. And then he started doing well. And you're like, oh, I love found money. All of a sudden, if a guy you expected, Jordan Walsh for a period of time, Josh Minot earlier this year, found money. But Amari Williams,
I think
great. What's the biggest need?
difference-
What's the biggest need right now? If Amari Williams is passable right now, passable or a rotation big, you have to rethink things. Are you legitimately spending valuable assets to make this team 5% better by trading first-round picks for a big? Or are you going to look at it and say, I might be able to roll with what we've got here? This is like the great experiment here. You've got what is it, February 5th or something? It's really coming up on you.
Yeah.
You got to decide a lot of things. You got to decide what you're going to do with Simons. You got to decide whether or not you need a big. You got to decide if you're going for it this year. And Amari Williams is like a flash audition right now. Let's see what this guy's got here.
John, you're in and out again. I think we got to the end of your point though.
We did. Go ahead.
I'm with you though. I'm with you on that. I'll say the difference between Amari and some of the other guys you listed, John, is this is a guy they drafted. I wouldn't say it's comparable quite to like a Queta or a Minot or a Garza, where you acquired a guy that's been in the league for a bit, that's kind of whatever. They drafted this guy. He's super young. There's a little bit more of a promise there, and I think there was probably a little bit more belief behind this guy than there were the other players. Now they've worked with Queta a lot, and I think the Celtics themselves can take a lot of credit in the player that Queta is now. Of course, you always give the credit to the player the most, but I think Queta being in this organization and taking on the coaching that he's taken has allowed him to extend his game a little bit and become the player he is. Garza obviously had a very, very, very strong collegiate basketball career, so he came into this league with a lot of high marks, but couldn't really find himself in Minnesota. I will say, it feels like Garza is a crazy hard worker, so I want to give him a lot of credit for that. It feels like his dad's like one of those dads that's just in the gym with him, like just passing him the ball 1,000 times a day if he's not practicing with the team. But Amari, I think the difference between Amari and those players is that he's got there's no label on the guy yet of who he is. He could be literally anybody at this point because he's so young. He's so his potential is so untapped, and they're not rushing him in. But at the same time, John, I think this is the perfect opportunity to throw him in there and say, let's see what you got.
For people making bad Wi-Fi jokes, it's actually the opposite. We're trying to broadcast in 4K, and the system can't handle it right now, and that's what's happening, and that's why I'm blinking in and out. We're gonna hear from Drew Holiday right now, and Jimmy, I'm gonna jump off one more time while we play Holiday here, okay? And then Bobby's gonna jump off.
Okay.
Yeah, Shay, you got some of that new TV money, didn't you? Nah. We was talking about the new TV money. I asked if you got some of that new TV money.
What do you think of the video, Jerm?
I thought it was awesome. Brought back good times, and I enjoyed my time here. So it was really nice. Now I think I know what Joe was talking about. Yeah. It was nice, but I loved it.
What do you mean by what Joe was saying?
Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry.
Oh, come on.
Don't even worry about it.
A little hint?
Nah.
Okay. What are your lasting memories here? What are some of the things that stand out from the couple years you had?
We're hating on my plant right now.
Honestly, the love that you felt.
Just thriving.
Coming to practice, being in the arena or the locker room here.
It's called the Dragon Plant.
Obviously tonight, coming out, something like that for me. It was
Actually
felt like
rescued
it was like that
it.
every single
Somebody
game.
left it on the side of the road.
You play hard for this team and the city, and
I'm not a hero.
I'll definitely have you back.
So everyone kind of go over to you after the game and dap you up and say what's up. Like, what was that moment like? That just a lot of the players and coaches. Just what was that moment like?
It's just like family. There's a normalcy to it, You spend so much time with them that they become family, and then just all of a sudden you're on a different team. So it's always good to see them.
Obviously, played against them for years already, but having gotten to know Jalen and Derek and their tendencies and stuff, how is it to kind of go against them a little bit in this game, and what kind of things?
It's fun. I feel like it's cat and mouse. It's definitely a different type of challenge, and I feel like as competitors we both love it. So it was fun to go out there and play.
What do you think's contributed to the tough shooting starts that you guys have had the last couple games?
Couldn't tell you. Shay needs to shoot a little more. Maybe I should shoot a little less.
Good Blazers talk.
But I think it's just sometimes it's like that, but for us, I think we hang our hats on our defense, and we feel like we'll always have a chance.
It's been like being Rob's teammate here. Your first year together.
Man, I don't really mess with Rob like that, man. I think I'm playing. I don't really mess with Rob like that. No, he's a great human, great person. Love playing with him. Love the fact that I get to be on the court with him, and he's so easy to play with. When I first started playing with him, he has a lot more to him than I think people actually see. So, love playing with Rob.
Is it weird to kind of have just this full circle thing of you and Dame are traded for each other 2 years ago, and then you're traded for Rob, and then now all of you are on the same team?
Yeah, I think I already went through all that early in the season, but it's a part of the league. It's a part of the life that I'm in. So it happens.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, Bobby's here to save us.
Oh, thank God, John. Did you unplug unplug it and plug it back in? The old trick for the boomers out there. Yeah, just
it's not that.
Something.
It's not that. I started the stream in 4K. I'm gonna be stuck in this hell for the rest of the stream.
So funny. So funny because right before we went live, John was like, "Oh wow, we have 4K availability now. It's sweet." He's like, "I'm gonna try that." And I'm like, "All right."
He thought he was looking sharp on there.
I was.
Somebody one commenter was like, "John's looking sharp," and now it's like his entire identity.
And now it's like, this boomer doesn't know how internet works. Yeah, it's so friggin'. Did he move into Joe Sway's place? Well, yeah.
Now you know how Joe Sway felt.
So we started in 4K. We're ending in 1. Not even 1K. We're just ending in 1.
Yeah, seriously.
Anyway, Bobby,
Ks.
say something about this game.
Whew. It was impressive, I thought. The Blazers made them earn it. There was definitely a lot of resistance in the second half. They lost the second half, and they pushed into 8.
They lost the last 3 quarters. After that first quarter, that was it. Everything after that was bad.
26-20, 28-23, 29-27. Now you hold them below 30 in every quarter, which is pretty good. This was almost their best defensive performance of the season. But the Blazers shot pretty bad. Jeremy Grant still got whatever he wanted for the most part. So there were holes in that defense.
This was a tough watch. Yeah.
It was a tough watch at times, but I overall liked the bounce back effort from what we saw on Saturday, which was pretty ugly defensively, especially for a lot of that game. I know the Bulls made a ton of shots in that game. Blazers missed a ton of shots in this one, but it just felt like there were defensive plays made throughout this one. I know you guys were talking about Amari, who flashed as a rim protector. I thought that was some great stuff that he did filling in for Garza in this game. And then Simons got back on a few plays, stripped a couple plays stripped a couple Blazers players on the move. He had some really nice contributions defensively throughout this one. And you can go down the line. Ugo recovering that ball, Oos ball in transition that set up the Sam Hauser 3. This was a pretty energetic effort across the board. Hauser getting back in transition, deflecting that alley-oop try. There was a lot of good stuff here from them defensively. In fact, I feel like this was their best defensive performance in like a month plus here. And I know the Blazers helped them by missing everything, and Denny Avdia was out here, so there's a lot of stuff that
I wanted to see
that.
him because we don't get to see a lot. We don't get to see a lot of him, and that's my favorite style of player is a guy who takes it to the basket and he leads the league in drives. I kind of
free throws for a little bit.
I kind of want to see. I wanted to see him. I wanted to see how they would defend him. I wanted to see who would defend him, and how they would do there, and whether that rim protection would come into play. And it just didn't get a chance to.
Well, he lit them up in the last game, and obviously the Blazers won the game in Portland.
Of course, yeah.
So it was an impressive bounce back, not only from Saturday, but that game out in Portland too. And Drew looked good tonight. He got beat by White a couple times there. Brown got him baseline. The Celtics were able to attack him and score on him, which was impressive too. Because
you're just never gonna let this go, huh? You just freaking hate Drew Holiday.
No, I said
Crazy.
Since he's such a good defender.
Bobby didn't even do Celtics postgame. He went over to the Blazers head coach and he's like, "You ever think about bringing Holiday off the bench? Because that's what I would do."
Yeah.
You know who the Blazers head coach is, John?
No.
What happened to Chauncey?
We know.
I don't know. I knew it was Chauncey. Oh, Splitter. Tiago Splitter. Yeah. That's right. But yeah, it's a Holiday. I wanted to comment on it because we played his post game sound there. Poor guy. He just looks like guys. We know what this is. Like,
yeah.
I got dumped.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is who I'm dating now. It's not great. It's not great.
I have to play with Rob.
She's nice.
She's nice. I'm still getting it on the regular, but it's like, it's not great. It's not great.
She's a great personality. She really does have a great personality.
Can we hear from Rob? I want to hear from our old guy, Rob.
We can hear from Rob, but I was going to welcome you on here. Are you confident, Jimmy, looking at me here, that this is going to last? Because if so, I will let you go right now, my friend.
I want to hear Rob, and then I'll come back.
Okay, we're going to hear from Rob. By the way, Rob Williams, the only Blazer in plus territory, plus 11.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Holiday ended up +3 at the end there.
So the
Bobby. Two Celtics, only two guys in plus territory. Holiday, who the Celtics really took it to, and Rob Williams. Rob Williams was a +11 in his minutes, while Klingon, Mr. Klingon's gonna kill us. He's a monster. Yeah, great. He grabbed boards and did nothing. Whatever. A couple blocks, -19. Thank you. I'll take Rob Williams, please. Here's Rob after the game.
Your thoughts on the game tonight? Obviously, a really rough first quarter. Guys better in the second half, but not able to make up the deficit.
Man, we just got to rebound better. Put that on me. I got in the game early, man. I got to come up with those rebounds and played against a great team. I got to match the energy.
What do you feel like maybe is the issue for you guys in first quarters as of late? Because this is the second straight game where you've had a really tough start.
Just sort of energy.
These aren't the questions we're gonna. Bobby, are you gonna get in here?
We always show those spurts.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in there.
Freaking Blazers questions. Blazers are sending reporters.
Oh, it's always love, man. For Time Lord here, you know what I'm saying? That's why I got my nickname. So.
These last 2 years been like for you since the trade. I know you've had to deal with some injuries and getting used to.
Always love for Time Lord
here. How do you look
here.
back at the last couple seasons?
Honestly, man, just glad I'm here. Glad I'm playing back on the court. Got to play against some old friends, playing with my new guys. just happy to be back, man. I can't be more blessed.
Looking back on the trade and, you know, moving on from here, obviously they were able to go on and win a championship, some of your old teammates there. Like, was it like watching that from afar and just seeing them accomplish that, you know, after you left?
Yeah, I watched the whole, the whole finals. I watched them win it. Me and my girl, I went through a moment of saying I was happy for my dogs. Then I went through from, you know what I'm saying? It was mixed emotions, but I'm glad it did for sure.
Do you have any special interactions tonight with any of the guys that are still there from when you were there?
Yeah, for sure. JB Payton, me and Sam Hauser talked about Yellowstone a little bit, a little 18.
What do you guys need to do tomorrow in order to get that win versus the Wizards?
Got to bring the energy from the start. You know what I'm saying? Can't think we're going to let teams. Can't think teams are going to let us pressure them. You know, let us bring.
Bobby, get back in there.
On the offense. So we just gotta
Rob, do you want to come back and play in Boston?
Mixed emotions, seeing that run. What was your reaction to the trade? You know, when it first happened, and when did you finally get comfortable with, you know, moving on and finding a new home, you know, in Portland?
To be honest, the trade was just tough the first day. You know, when I got the call, it's first trade. You know, everybody's first trade is kind of a rough one. But you know, it was pretty simple to move on. New team, new organization, still doing the same thing you love. Like I said, glad to get through the injuries and get to where I'm at now.
And how would you how would you describe what you've gone through health-wise the last couple of years, and where you at now in terms of coming back from that?
Yeah, man, it could always be worse. You know, I always tell these guys here, it could always be worse. You know, I know we go through a lot, but you know, we blessed. We wake up. When you get knocked down, get back up and keep rolling, man. So I look at it.
Thank you, man.
So that was hard for me.
Still so
Rob being Rob.
That's hard for me.
Yeah.
I know it.
John, how are you feeling after the trade?
You know me. I said it then. It was hard to. It made sense for all the reasons they did it. I was, you know, it was an emotional reaction to like, does it have to be Rob? And I kind of was like, maybe couldn't you have just sent Al? You know.
I'm glad you're acknowledging it. Oh, John's gone. John's just reflecting on the Rob Williams trade.
This is what I had to do, Bobby. This is what I did.
Made more sense. They were a more complete team with it being Rob.
You're back, John.
You're back, but you were just.
But it's hard. It's hard for me.
Into the abyss.
The whole thing is hard. Look, man, he's just a different dude, right? Like, you know, he just had that vibe. Like you really wanted it to work out with him. Like it wasn't just like at his physical athletic peak, we've never seen anything like him. And
he was the most exciting Celtic of my lifetime.
Yeah, seeing that taken away from him was sad there, post meniscus injury there in 2022, and the way that they were rolling, and then that, you know, and then him coming back and never fully regaining it. You could see it in pockets and spurts, but then, you know, just another injury and another and just kind of knowing that like this isn't going to turn around, is it? And like, but then on top of it is just the whole aura of Rob Williams, the Time Lord persona, you know, the kind of the weirdness of him, you know, and just he's so chill and he's funny and he's an interesting dude. He just felt to me, it's just like it's a miss. It's untapped potential. I would love to see a little sliding doors moment where everything worked for Rob Williams and all of that stuff didn't happen. And what was the trajectory? I don't know if he ever gets there because there's something missing where like, it's, you know, he was always just slightly off from like fully actualizing his potential, but you wonder what could have happened there. So it is a kind of a coulda, woulda, shoulda situation there where like it didn't work out. You wanted it to work out. You wish him well, and everything since he's left here has been bad as well with the health and all of that stuff. So it's just the whole thing's kind of a bummer with Rob. So
yeah,
it's tough. It's tough to watch it.
Finals. When you think back to those finals he played in and grinded out, looking back on it, because he got the surgery right after the follow-up on the meniscus. That was a series they lost 4-2 to the Warriors, and they won his minutes overwhelmingly in that series. So even that 25% version of Rob in that series was still a
totally different. When he was on the court, it was totally different. Totally different there.
Yeah, and that was the year where just whether it was the players around him, the coaching staff, the scheme, that's where you saw him actualize that potential, as you talked about, John. And I think he finished 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year voting that season, or 4th, top 5 at the least. He was unbelievable, and I think we'll always remember that season and wonder what if. And I think we always talk about it, right? Oh, could this guy come back to Boston? Could that guy come back to Boston? Jimmy's right. I should have asked in there, would he consider coming back? Because he is a free agent this summer. He's probably a guy who's going to be in like the minimum-ish category, I'd say, given the health there. And I think it's going to be about where he feels like he can fit in and contribute. And still seems like he's close to a lot of his former Celtic teammates, Tatum, Brown.
Is he too similar to Amari?
22. Amari did outplay him tonight, I felt like, overall. It was close, but
Here's the thing.
Pissed.
No, I mean, I just think Rob's for the rest of time, no one is going to be able to wrap their minds around the impact that Rob Williams makes. You're always better with him on the court. Always.
Yeah.
That's been a fact from day one. And even now, they don't even know. People just don't know what to do with him because he just doesn't fit into a lot of people's plans or a modern NBA. He doesn't shoot the ball. He could go an entire 7-minute stretch in a game without touching the ball. But he's so good with the passing and his awareness. Not only he doesn't have to make great passes. Do you see him on the time? He's a floor general. Point guard's got the ball top of the key. Rob's spreading the floor, and he's telling them over to there.
I saw that.
He's like, move it there and then to there. Don't you see this? He sees it.
So good.
His vision is so good. And that's why there's so much untapped potential because you should have played more offense through him because he's such an outstanding passer. And you'd see it in spurts when he was with the Celtics. It wasn't always just the lob stuff, but you'd run him on a high-low. You'd get him the ball at the top of the paint and he'd make terrific decisions with it all the time. And then there'd just be other times where it's just they don't even know Rob's out there. Nobody even thinks to give him the ball.
He had on New Year's Eve against Phoenix. There's so many games like that you look back on and you're like, whoa, the block on Zion when Zion was at his peak. And there were these moments where he was just a game-breaking talent and impact player. And the plus-minus did always scream out at his impact, John. This is just the latest example here. I mean, the Blazers were down by 20 for a lot of this game, and he still ends a plus 11 in a game that they lost by a decent amount. He's in a weird spot out there, right? Because they're obviously invested in Klingon, and he's on the court, off the court. So it feels like they're just halfway invested in him. They like having him around is the sentiment I get out of there. But I don't know if they're actually going to keep him around. I don't know what his home's going to be.
Yeah. I also think there's a world in which he could have developed it. Every time you see him shoot, it's that doesn't look bad. It just never.
Pass in the corner. I was saying he might pull up.
I thought his first touch was in the corner, and I thought he was going to jack a 3, and he didn't do it.
I think he's hit a 3 this year.
That would have been next level.
He just needs to have if he had a consistent 12 to 15 foot jumper,
he
that
does.
would take him. He doesn't. He doesn't use it enough.
He's 3 for 12 from 3 this year.
Not great. It's great that he's taking him though. I mean, when he was in the Celtics, that wasn't even a thought.
Yeah, I remember the first time he hit one is last year here. I think it was it was like, whoa.
I mean, they really couldn't get him to shoot outside the freaking cylinder.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but it's just a guy you miss.
I think.
And
listen,
it would be
I
cool
think
if they could get him back.
I'm surprised you didn't hint at it, Bobby. By the way, a little tip: if you asked Rob that one question, that would have been the only thing people would have clipped and quoted. And blah blah blah. So
I forgot to ask Marcus that too. Yeah, I always forget that question because I'm like, all right, it's old.
It's all fans want to know. Fans like John, that's all they want to know. Is there a chance that we can get back together again someday?
What do you want
to
know
if he still likes me? Again, I don't know. I don't know. Don't ask me that.
Getting back with your toxic ex.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a chance.
Just say yes, John.
John, you can save him. You can totally save him, man.
Yeah, I don't need it.
John will be saying, start him.
Yeah, look,
start
I mean,
again,
it's silly. We haven't watched enough of him to know what it is, but I don't think it's reliable. I don't know if it fits what Joe wants to do, but on this team,
Joe didn't like playing him, remember? He was coming off the bench that whole year.
You're telling me this team, Rob Williams, doesn't make you better considering what's going on in the big man situation here? Sure, he does. You're telling me he can't step in and play as well as Keita is playing right now? Probably can. I just don't know that you can count on it. So, like, it's and there's probably a Keita redundancy here too. And so that would be a little bit weird.
No
Keita's like
10 and 8 this year, playing every night.
Yeah.
It's just you need a guy who can play every night. And it's like if you're going to sign him to play a prominent role on this team, knowing he's going to play
Keita's like the Choppelganger, version of Rob, like he's just he's not quite there.
But he can play every night.
We got Noah's coming on. Jimmy's going to pop out. We're going to hear from Jaylen Brown. We're going to hear from Peyton Pritchard. I got to thank Jimmy. He took one for the team tonight.
And on Saturday. Saved us on Saturday too. Thanks, Jimmy.
Saturday.
We appreciate all of
Did
that.
a little football chat on Sunday. I can't get away from you guys. Unbelievable.
Jimmy's definitely the 2026 MVP at this point. And I don't think it's actually very debatable. So yeah. So we're gonna say that. I got to give our sponsors over at Prize Picks a quick shout out, of course. And we are heading into what we like to call, Jimmy, the big game. It's almost here. No better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks. Always feels good to be right, since the big game that the Patriots are in, Jimmy, right around the corner. Also means your last chance to get in on football action before next season. And again, this is where it's at. If you like Prize Picks, I'm sure you do. Part of the reason why is because it's football. There's a lot of action there. It's a lot of fun to play. Close the season out right with Prize Picks, getting $50 instantly in your lineups when you play your first $5 lineups. Super easy to get in on the action here, and you know the deal. Pick more, pick less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, went up to 2,000 times your cash. It's all you need to do. There's going to be a lot of cool promos and different things heading into the big game here. You want to, early payouts. You know how it goes. Players get off to a hot start. You can cash those things out. Absolutely, you can. You can mix and match sports. You can stick with one game as long as you do at least one player on each team. And you can stack projections, which I think is really cool. If you think somebody is going to, have a big game, more, just hit it and go. So again, download that Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS, get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, that code is CLNS, get 50 in your lineups. As soon as you download that app, code CLNS, 50 in after you play your first $5 lineup. It is good to be right. Who's clearing their throat back there? Is that you? Okay.
That's one last soundbite from me.
All right, one last soundbite from you. We're going to bring in Noah. We're going to say goodbye to Jimmy. Bye, Jimmy.
Deuces.
I won't take it
Bye,
personally,
guys.
Jimmy.
Hi,
Thanks,
Noah.
pal.
Good to hear your voice back. Bye, everybody.
So here's we've got tired Jimmy, we've got 4K John who's glitching out a little bit, and we've got Noah who's battling with the voice right now. But she's gonna give it a go. Just jumped out of the locker room. And anything interesting from Jaylen or Peyton? I have them, but I haven't played them.
Yeah, a couple of things. Both of them talked about how personally they took the Celtics expectations being so low entering the season and the idea of a gap year. And I think both of those guys are probably at the top of the list of players that took that notion personally and wanting to kind of prove people wrong. Jaylen also talked a little bit about ICE and the NBPA players' statement and kind of some of the behind the scenes stuff on there.
Okay. Well, we'll play that in a little bit. Your thoughts on the game tonight?
I mean, you'll always take a win like that. I think Portland's a difficult defensive team. They make things difficult. There's no coincidence. The Celtics have been called for a bunch of moving picks against them both times now. I liked what we saw from Amari Williams. Like, he is still a work in progress. And I know Joe got a lot of questions about him, but I think it's because he was with the 46th pick, and usually that's kind of a wash pick. And he showed some nice flashes tonight. John's frozen and he's pointing right at me.
Finger point.
He's like,
sorry. Can I ask you a question, Noah?
Yeah, please.
He was calling you out.
No. I started this broadcast in 4K, and it's been messing with my connection, and everyone's having fun with it on the chat. If I glitch out again, I'm going to go and you guys take it home. But I wanted to ask you, Joe Mazzulla, this was interesting to me, said that he was, being patient with Amari, and that it was hard to be patient, but he's doing it anyway because it's what he needs. That's not how he reacts. That's not how he treats most rookies or most inexperienced players. It's when you're ready to play and you've entered my circle of trust, I'll put you in there. Other than that, see you later. And we've seen it in practice this season with some people that have completely fallen out because of Joe losing patience with them. And we've seen it, we had Baylor Shireman tell us on the show, Joe hates rookies. Why is it different with Amari right now?
Part of it is need. Like tonight, I think you had no Luka. You just had Nimi on the court. Like Amari hasn't gotten that many opportunities, to be fair. But the few times where he has, I think there's been a real need for him to play. I think also there's a certain kind of mistake that bothers Joe, and there's a certain kind of mistake that bothers him less. I haven't quite figured out exactly what that mistake is, but you guys know what I mean? Like that he's like he talks about mistakes
pulled
with
Kate
effort
off the
mistakes.
floor after the rebounds.
Rebounding kills.
And also there's the understanding that like Amari, this is literally his first couple NBA games. And so like you can be really hard on him, but he's in a different spot than like
An
Nimi,
example of him
who's
since
in
the
his
preseason with that stuff.
You broke up, John. Has this been the whole show?
Yeah. There goes John.
He can't just come back.
I find he's done.
I might, but it's been this way the whole time, and it's just ridiculous because
I thought it was me when I got on.
Restart? Did you restart and come back or something?
No, it's not that. I started the broadcast in 4K and stream. I don't want to blame StreamYard. It can't handle it. It's too much.
They can't handle John.
Can't handle it, so it's glitching out.
Well,
it was not meant to be.
Say is, I think there are certain kinds of mistakes that Joe's more bothered by, and there's a certain level of expectation of like, what year is this in the NBA for Nimi? Like, this is your 4?
This is his.
What year is it?
5th.
5th. What year is it for Josh? His 4th? Like,
yes,
I think when you see, I think there's a level of like, come on, we've talked about this. We've gone over this. This is your first time. These aren't my words. These aren't Joe's words. This is what I'm speculating, but I think with Amari, it's like at the end of the day, he's literally played like 25 NBA minutes entering tonight or something crazy like that. So you can be tough on him, but there has to be a little bit of a learning curve, right? And he hasn't even been with the team most of the year. So he's literally picking stuff up as we go. I don't know if like that's always going to be the case with Amari, but I understand why he's being afforded a little bit more patience than maybe the average young guy that's frustrating Joe.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see Kate pulled in the 4th late there, and it looked like they were going to let Amari close before he picked up a 5th foul, and they ended up going with Kate instead for like the last minute or two. So there was some trade-off between those two down the stretch, and I think we've seen that with Kate more and more over the last month or two here is if someone, Luka, now Amari, is able to carve into his minutes a little bit in these games, Joe's not opposed to having that be the case. I know Kate is dealing with the illness a little bit right now, but Amari starts on Saturday over Kate, and we were trying to make sense of that. No, I know you were out that night, and John was as well. Amari starts that game. Luka came in off the bench first, and it seemed to me like they were trying to rest Keita that night, but have him available in case of emergency. And then Garza turned his ankle pretty quickly, and then Keita was in the game and really struggled in that one. And Amari had mixed results in that one as well. But they wanted to get Amari a start on Saturday for some reason or another, which says a lot on top of all the leeway that he's been afforded here now and the opportunity that he's been afforded in these spots.
For sure. It's so interesting to see the way Joe has responded to positive play by awarding starts this year. Like it's such an interesting phenomenon.
I mean, Kate has been a starter all year.
Yeah, that was, and I don't know if the illness. I know neither of us were in Chicago, but I don't know if the illness was a factor. He didn't play a whole lot. I mean, he only ends up playing 10 minutes, but yeah, giving him that opportunity to start on the heels of again a good overtime stint, but he only played 5 minutes in Brooklyn. It wasn't like he carried them in that Brooklyn game. He made some big plays, and there's a reason why we spoke to him afterwards, why he was a big part of the story. But yeah, it's been like an interesting psychological thing seemingly this year between Joe and players.
Yeah, how did you read that, John?
The start?
Yeah.
I think exactly as Noah said, it really is almost like it's almost like a message to everyone else. See, when you do what I like and when you do what I want, I'm going to start you. And that's what he did.
Yeah, and Cade obviously the game before fouled out
Because
Joe
I mean,
not
it was
happy about that
it was more like ceremonial than it was. I mean, he ended up playing like what 8 minutes. I forget what the final tally was, but like, you know, he came on a little bit more late, but like he played early, and then you didn't see much of him at all there. So it wasn't like a traditional starter rotating in. It really was almost like a reward. It felt like.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they were really excited about what he did on Friday in Brooklyn. Like
10 minutes. It was 10 minutes. He played 10 total minutes in that game.
In Chicago. In Brooklyn, it was 5 minutes.
6 in his first stint. Right. 6 in his first stint at Chicago. And then that was that. And I'm sorry, Brooklyn was the start?
Yes. No, Chicago was the start.
Chicago was the start. Was the start. He played 6 minutes to start the game and then 4 the rest of the game. So again, it had to be like a attaboy. 26 minutes tonight is a big number, you know.
Yeah.
As Noah said earlier,
And they wanted him out there against Rob. Like it felt like they were matching him up against those minutes, and it was a battle out there between those two. And you know, you had some highs and lows through his play. I thought his first half was outstanding. Like the amount of plays he stacked together. And the defensive contributions, which I haven't seen a lot of his defense. No, you've watched the main. I've watched a little bit of the clips here and there, and a lot of you watch the passing, you watch the offense, and it's all intriguing, the screening. But his defense in this game was great. I know you were talking about before we got on here, John, his ability to keep up with the speed of the game. There was one play where Shaedon Sharp caught him downhill, and it was literally one-on-one between those two. And Sharp's a great scorer, fast, one of the faster guys in the league. Murray just stayed with him and ended up blocking him. And he had a bunch of blocks in this game, bunch of contests, bunch of active plays inside. Joe's talked a lot about how quickly he's improved this year, and that's put him in position to earn these NBA opportunities, because I don't think he was in this place in summer league and to start training camp. That's what made you thought he'd be in Maine all year. I did not see him playing a game like this outside of like a rest night or late in the season.
There's a lot about this season that none of us really saw coming. So Amari just kind of
Jalen
adds
and
to it.
Payton.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. They said that, Noah, because Drew was talking about that too, that Jalen took things
That's what
personally.
spurred that line of questioning. I think Jay King was asking both players about expectations, and I think Drew saying that especially Jalen was going to take things personally. And Jalen was like, low key, I take everything personally. Like that's what he said when Jay asked him about that. It's like,
which is true.
Which is true. And we know that, right? He's always looking for stuff like that.
Yeah. Talk about Derek White's night. Hey, he shot the ball well, but
Didn't it for the beginning, but he turned
we were
it around.
killing White on Saturday.
8 turnovers. This was a weird one, huh?
I didn't realize he had 8 turnovers.
Yeah.
That's how much he finished with.
Yeah.
That is out of character.
Right.
He's had a weird season in a lot of different ways. And
listen,
he looked like I defended his.
Joe kind of yanked him in a critical situation too. He seemed a little fed up about some of it, even though there was a lot of good mixed in there. But this was a weird night.
Yeah, he had a weird night in Chicago Saturday too. Missed a lot of shots, and
it
just didn't give them offensively what they were looking for in that one. But overall, like that was a strange game where they win the free throw battle.
This all happened after Noah began the MVP campaign. He goes,
okay.
He gets
First of all, okay, time out.
He doesn't play the next night. This is the Noah jinx. He doesn't play the next night because he gets.
There is no Noah jinx. That's not a thing. Okay.
He doesn't play because he needs rest, and then he goes 5 for 18 in Chicago.
The entire thing was centered around his defense, which continues to be great. He was already slumping when I asked those questions. He's been slumping for the last 3 weeks, and he shot 50% from the field tonight. So actually, he's finding himself ever since then. But it was funny because on Friday night against the Nets, Jalen said we were without our all-star guard. And I look
look what
he's
you've
saying
done.
it without me now. He's not even. He doesn't even need to be spoon-fed, So
this you did it last year with Peyton Pritchard. You guys can will it into existence.
That was the Noah curse.
Peyton Pritchard was 2 years ago, and then he won 6th Man of the Year. And
no, the sixth Man of the Year campaign. Yeah, it began.
I didn't campaign for him.
Okay.
See, my
I'm watching these turnovers back, John. They're all dribbling in traffic.
Yeah.
That had to annoy Joe.
Trying to do too much. Yeah, it was a weird one. We mentioned Jaylen Brown talked after the game here and had a lot on his mind on a bunch of different topics. We'll listen to it now.
Feeling you guys led wire to wire, but this game was never comfortable. How were you able to hold them off?
What was the question?
Anytime you keep a team under 100 points, give it a chance, opportunity to win. So I think defensively, I think we did that. And
He's quiet. I'm going to try another version. This is boosted. Yep.
Hey, technology.
So I think defensively, I think we did that, and then offensively wasn't crisp as it could be, but we did enough to get a job done.
You got Nimi, you got Luka, now you got Amari in there. You got 3 different styles of center, and now a new one that you're working with. How difficult is it to adjust your game to the type of center that you're playing with?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm probably in the middle difficulty level. And just every single night I'm learning. Teams are
5 out of 10.
Sending different coverages, so trying to communicate with my teammates. And I thought Amari did a great job today. I thought he looked exceptional. He came out, he protected the rim. He was where he was supposed to be for the most part. So Amari made it easy for us tonight. But any given night, depending on how the team is playing us, that communication has to be great.
With Drew and Rob coming back, what are your lasting memories from playing with them?
2 great guys, man. 2 great people on the floor, but off the floor as well. Drew and his family, just great family, and Rob is just a great dude. Rob just, me and him have had a bunch of conversations, just chilling. Like one of my favorite people. So to see them back is still a little weird to see him on the other side, but I'm happy to welcome those guys back.
Jalen, the PA released a statement about what happened in Minneapolis, and obviously you remember the PA. What are your thoughts on that? How do you kind of measure, along with your teammates being a leader, how guys should kind of view the world outside of basketball, and if they have any questions and things like that? I mean, obviously there's things going on around the world that you guys need to be aware of.
For sure. I think, how I use my platform is being an athlete, is trying to use my platform to make situations that need a little bit more attention. For us to be able to focus on. Obviously, basketball is entertainment and it's important, but there's other things going on in the world that are more important. The statement that we released from the NBA PA, we send our condolences to the families who recently have had their losses, and our players don't stand for it. We demand accountability, and we think that there needs to be some improvement in the tactics, the profiling, or whatever's going on. So it's a lot, and for everyone to see, and for the people who are in Minnesota who are having these experiences, and all over the U.S., not just Minnesota, even here in Boston. There are things going on. It's a lot to encapsulate in words. I send my condolences, and the players as well. The Players Association, we send our condolences as well.
Drew Holiday said he thought that you took it personally the way people thought you guys were going to kind of fall off as a team coming into this season. How personally did you take all that talk, and how did that sit with you, the talk that you guys are going to have a gap year, or that could be headed for the lottery, or stuff like that?
What's the question?
How personally did you take that? How did that?
I love it.
How do I answer that? How personally? Very personally. Is that correct English? I'll take everything personally, low key. I'm always looking for something, But yeah, I feel like I've sacrificed over the years in order for us to be a championship caliber team, and I think now we're getting to see that a little bit. What exactly I was capable of and what I was sacrificing. I think before maybe it wasn't so obvious. I think now, being able to be at the helm of things, and us being the second seed in the East versus last year, we finished second seed in the East. It's almost been no drop off with 5 players that are essentially gone. I feel like that the work from the coaching staff, the work from our leadership has been great, and I just tried to make myself available every single night.
What did you think people missed when they kind of had those expectations for you guys?
What did they miss? I'm not sure. I mean, to certain.
There's a reason why Noah didn't want me to play this interview.
I'm not sure. Like
I wanted you to play it.
Obviously, we got some great players that are not a part of our organization.
I thought it was good. Peyton was
anymore.
good too.
And we got one that's recovering from an injury. So I guess that's that's the obvious thing that people would see. But I've always believed in myself and believed that I was one of the best players in this league, and then I got the opportunity to show it.
Jalen, just following up on what Gary said, when something happens like what happened in Minneapolis the other night, how quickly are you as a member of the NBPA getting on the phone with people? Like, what does that actually look like behind the scenes? We just see the statement, but we don't really know what goes into that, and who was the leader. What's your role there?
Yeah, I mean, it's overdue. It's a lot of conversations that have been happening for a while about kind of what's been going on and how collectively we like to use our voice. So there's a bunch of guys who may feel different about each and every situation, but as a collective, we have to come to like some form of understanding. So it's some back and forth that takes place. There's some conversations of what's going on, and then there's like an overall agreement to like something needs to be said. Maybe it was a little bit overdue. Things have been happening for a while, and people have rightfully have made complaints and have protested for some time now, but it takes time to get a bunch of guys, a majority of guys, on the same page to be able to put something out. So that's what you see.
Thank you, Jim.
So, some of the stuff we've definitely heard before about sacrifice and being
I'm trying to steer clear of that for the most part.
I'm not getting into that. I'm gonna steer right around that and go to the end. The big conversation that people are having, but not really having because everyone's just assuming everything is going to work out, is this notion that if and when Tatum comes back, that Tatum's going to take a back seat because now Brown has shown it, and Tatum's going to recognize that, hey, I'm coming back from my Achilles, and I'm not going to come in here and mess this up because things are going well. And I think that's the most insane wish casting type of thinking that you've ever seen. Like, fish got to swim. Like, Tatum's going to be Tatum. The notion that Tatum's not going to come in and try to be Tatum when he's here is crazy to me. Like, maybe not in game 1, but by game 5 or 6, if he's playing, Tatum's going to Tatum. Like, he's going to Tatum, which means Brown's going to have to be a different Brown. I don't think that this is debatable. So how is that going to work? Because Brown has made it pretty clear, like, I've been sacrificing. You gave me a shot. This is what I can do. And he's not bragging or saying, he's just saying matter of fact. And you all see it. So what happens? How does it work?
This is what I always say to this question whenever it comes up, is just having both of them is going to be a benefit. You're always going to have one on the floor. You're going to figure it out when they're both out there just attacking matchups and all the different things that they do to make the offense equal opportunity.
I know, but is Tatum taking a back seat to Brown? Because
he's going to have to initially. Because he's going to have to for multiple reasons.
Sure, practically speaking, do you believe that's going to happen? Like, Brown's been driving this ship all year. They've exceeded expectations, and he's a large reason why. Like, are you telling me Tatum's going to come in there and be like, you got it, buddy. I'll come back next year when I'm 100% healed?
Again, he's going to have to, or it's not going to be a good look.
I can't believe every single person in the chat missing the question. This is not Jalen slander. This is Jalen praise. He's earned it right now.
Wait, sorry, John,
I'm saying,
what's your question?
Is Tatum going to take a back seat to Jaylen Brown when he returns?
Like, if this, like, in a compromised version, or like,
meaning you're the alpha now. I'll go hang out in the corner and take fewer shots. Like, it's cool. You run it. I'll be here.
Take
I'll
on
be
the
over
Jalen
here.
role.
Because there's no question Jalen took a back seat to Brown. They don't. It's not an even split, and nor has it been. What's the distribution? Who's got the ball late? Who's running the show? Who's, does it completely go back to where they were? Does Tatum take a backseat to Jaylen Brown because Jaylen Brown's been playing well and Tatum is physically compromised coming off an Achilles? That's my question.
Again, I think he's going to have to.
I know he's going to have to. It can make sense. Do you think it will happen is all I'm saying.
First of all, I think the way I look at it is that you lost several players that were high usage players from when the two of them last played together. That probably Peyton is going to take more of a back seat. There's going to be less of Peyton with the ball in his hand, less of Derek with the ball in his hand. Those two guys are probably the ones that are going to take more of a back seat. Jalen's averaged almost 27 points a game with Tatum averaging 30 before they acquired Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. So is Tatum going to average 30 right away? Probably not. Like, probably not going to play heavy enough minutes for that. And also that was his best season, right? But I don't know. I just don't view it as like this is going to be that brand new. Nothing that Jalen said or indicated. Maybe he will at some point, but I don't get the sense that now that I've had this season, I'm not willing to go back and
it's fine.
But
when Tatum averaged 30 and Jalen averaged 27, who was the alpha and who was the 1A?
And maybe on the outside, people looked at it like that, but that's always been what's been told to us, is like to not kind of look at it like that. Like there are some clear things. Like Jalen's the last guy that they say his name now in introductions. It used to be Tatum. Like I imagine Tatum.
Right. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Tatum.
I imagine Tatum comes back and gets that, stuff like that. Right. But like, as far as the actual basketball goes, I don't view this as it's going to be like this drastic, sacrifice that Jalen has to go back to being like he has been a high usage player with Tatum alongside him.
I understand, but he scored 4 points per game more than him last year, and had
last year. But I would put that
2.5, 3 field goal percentages. Yeah.
Like look at Porzingis' like usage rate when he was available. Like that is more of what I think you're going to see. I think you're going to look at like the amount of possessions again. That's like the ball. The offense is running through Peyton and Derek like that. I don't know.
I think this is going to be one of the more difficult situations Joe's had to manage as head coach here. I think practically on the court, the way that's going to work, minutes, usage, play designs, all the rest, how the offense is going to function. And I think it's a question that Joe's going to have to start to answer soon as the date potentially approaches here into February and March. I think it's a valid one. And it's
all I'm
going to
saying
be
is
a crucial one for this team. Now, in terms of Jalen's response,
Jalen's planted his flag pretty clearly, right?
And he has. And I think Jalen veers between the defiance / pushing back at the disrespect he's felt, not directly in opposition to Tatum, but just in that dynamic and how he's had to deal with it. Like he has made his thoughts known about that. So I do think his comments about it over the years, and we've talked about it, paint a pretty clear direction of where that could potentially go. At the same time, action-wise, he's been willing to do it to win, to be part of this team.
I'm curious,
so the question is going to be, does it change?
The sensible thing that everybody's saying, a bunch of things like this, and Bobby kept saying the same thing, is it makes most sense for Tatum to come in, ease his way in, reduce. Part of this might be solved simply by Tatum's minute restriction.
I said it. They should bring him off the bench.
And well, that's not going to happen. But like, even if he's on a 24 to 30, 25 to 28 minutes to start, and he doesn't ramp up, naturally Brown's going to be ahead of him because he's going to be playing more. That's going to naturally happen. But like, everyone's talking about what they think should happen versus what Tatum's mentality is going to be coming in here. It's like, thanks for holding it down, guys. I'm back. Let's do the Tatum thing, which is not like he's like, give me the ball and everyone get out of my way all the time. But there's been a clear pecking order the whole time. And like I said, Brown keeps planting his flag pretty clearly. Like, so now that I'm here, you see how I can do it, right? So maybe I should be the guy. It's definitely the biggest remaining storyline, the integration of Tatum, should he return, both in terms of how he looks, whether he looks right, whether he's ready to resume a full role or closer to the role that he's had before, and how it's going to go in that dynamic between those two guys. Jason Tatum has almost always had the ball at the end of games, almost always. And does that continue? How does it work? Is it even the small trivial shit like who gets announced last? All of that stuff.
It's fascinating.
Matters.
Yeah, and I think
a really interesting thing. It's a really.
It might just work. It might just work out, right? Like if
it might be perfect. It might be
if
no
they
problem.
just boom, they're back, and it's the same as before, and it's an even better version of this team. All the people who believe in them and this team, and that it's all going to work out, are just going to be like, "Whoa, what were you worried about? Break them up," that whole thing. But when you look at it practically, it is an interesting challenge that they're going to have to navigate. And it's obviously one that could come with some bumps and some discomfort and some disruption to what they've done so far, right? Like, it is not going to be a natural process or a smooth process integrating him in, especially on a minutes limit or whatever he's going to have to deal with there. Now, certain guys have come back from this Achilles thing and just bend themselves immediately. And I think that's possible
Like
too,
KD.
specifically with the shooting. So if Tatum's just out there raining threes, right, when he gets back, it's going to look a whole lot better than if he's missing them and he's trying to figure out where he can get his offense from. So we know that this offense functions on a pretty egalitarian basis. If he has a matchup one night, he's going to get the ball. If Brown has that matchup, he's going to get the ball. So that's a lot of how it's going to work out on offense. But in terms of whose team is it, who's running the show, who's scoring the most night in and night out, and who's getting the credit for this whole thing, that's something that they've managed well. And I think two different stars could have had a lot more trouble with. But every time we've questioned their ability to handle that, they've made it work. So I have some trust in their ability to do so. But I do think it's going to be on Tatum this time to sacrifice.
They've made it work because Jalen, in his estimation, has sacrificed. It has worked. It has worked because of Jalen's sacrifice. At least that's how he views it.
I mean, I think they both sacrificed,
Yeah.
It's like Jalen's probably sacrificed more, but all we heard during the title year was that how much Tatum is sacrificing, how much Drew is sacrificing, right? Like, that's been the nature of this team at its most talented. That's always been
a great example of it.
Everybody's thing, What I would just say, though, is that as far as speculating, like, we have no idea at this point, truthfully, as much as I feel like Tatum's going to come back sooner rather than later. We have no idea. It's possible that he comes back next year. We have no idea if he's going to come back on a minutes restriction, playing every other night, or if he's going to come back and basically be what we remember from him, right? And so those are such a broad spectrum of scenarios that it's just so hard to play that game at this point. And what I will say is that we are seeing several other players, not Jalen, but several other players, specifically Derek White, like, his efficiency has gone way down this year. So that's the main thing that I think you're going to come and see is, like, the burden that's going to be alleviated from those guys. What Jalen is saying in that postgame, in my opinion, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, is Jay is asking, why did everybody think you guys were going to be bad? And basically the answer is because you guys didn't believe in me, even though, like, I've been doing this and I've, so it's not like, because I was a bench player before, because I barely did anything. Like, Jalen has done a lot of great stuff with the Celtics team that I think people were discounting. Like, this is not his first great year. In fact, if you look at the season, especially now, because he's been shooting less efficiently the last couple of weeks, it's not like he's made this, like, massive leap. Like, we've never seen him play like this before. It's just he's been better than people expected because people thought that he was benefiting and he was relying way more on Tatum and other talented players than he was. Like, he actually was creating his own space and his own shot more than I think people gave him credit for. And so even though now, like, you look at his numbers, it's not like he's shooting lights out.
No, he's at career averages in terms of his shooting percentages, almost exactly. The only thing that's up at this point is the field goal attempts.
There was a moment in time where he was on
he cooled down. Yes, he cooled down.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's all. Like, I don't know. I don't view it as like it's gonna. He sent his message, regardless of what happens next year, later in his career. Nobody's ever going to be able to go back and look at this Celtics team and say that Jaylen Brown was only good because he played with great players. Like that. Also, he has dispelled a lot of narratives this season, right? But that doesn't mean that he's not going to be willing to come back and play alongside another superstar. Like, he saw that he wants to win titles, right? Like.
Yeah.
Does this team need more offensive weapons? Probably, right? There's been moments this season where you've seen the burden. And
let's be clear. They're missing what Tatum brings, regardless of how that's going to hash out.
No, I mean, obviously, he's Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
Like, of course they're missing
You're putting Tatum in place of Hauser
the question
and Walsh and
The question isn't, is it better? The question is, it's a little awkward, because it's like, awkward. So you've been sleeping in my bed. That's cool.
And that's a clear story.
The guy goes on sabbatical. He comes back, and somebody's taking his desk, and he's like, this is my desk, right? I'm like, yeah, I know, but I've been here for the last 3 months. And be like, well, could you move? Like, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about it's going to be better.
And again, I want to emphasize,
of course it's going to be better. Yeah,
it might work out.
Yeah,
it
might be seamless, but it's a story. Jalen's comments,
of course, it's
coming back and what he was before Tatum and what he's going to have to do now. Like,
yeah.
It might work out perfectly, but it's a story.
As Noah said, if we don't know minutes restriction, what he's going to be like, how healthy he's going to be, and all of that stuff, we also don't know how they're going to react to it. We're just saying what we want to happen, what we want to see happen, what we hope happens. But none of these things have anything to do with reality. We don't know what's going to happen. That's what makes it interesting. Noah, you were going to say?
No, I was just gonna say, like, also the alpha stuff, like Tatum was the alpha and Brown was like, this is just like, that is not the way people on a basketball team look at
That's
things.
how Jalen views it.
That's how Jalen
I don't think he looks at himself as like, I was the beta on the team. Like,
Sure he does.
Yes, he
No, he
does. That's
doesn't.
what
He
he
clearly
said.
does. He says it at every opportunity.
Okay, we might have different definitions of what it means to be an alpha. He's rejected.
Say whatever
the
word
idea
you
of-
want.
I mean, but the words matter, right? That's our job. So I mean,
Number
I'm just
one,
saying,
number
like,
two.
he's been asked
Alpha,
about 1A,
meaning
1B in the past and been like, that's not a thing. Like, I don't think he's accepted that, some of those descriptors. Now he's showing the people that didn't buy in to him as a number one, but he did not look at it as like, I'm not the guy. Like, I think that's kind of like what was created the tension on.
We know he believes he's the guy, and we know that he's shown he's capable this year of being the guy. But when Tatum is there, he's
Can
not
we start
the
having
guy.
these discussions before I join the show? Why do we have to I joined the show. This is all we've talked about.
I just want to say again,
Because honestly, like, I did 40 minutes on Amari Williams. Like, I just
Okay, I would have loved to
and,
be there for 40 minutes on Amari Williams.
and I eulogized Rob in a
Yeah, I
proper
would've
way.
loved all
I've done
that.
all of these things. Yeah.
Yeah, we flipped the
So you're
show
saying
in
that
the
it
wrong
actually was
direction.
a lovely show, and then I joined.
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
flipped
I
it
was
because
stunned
we-
when I came on and heard Amari talk.
I flipped
should've
it
just
because we
gone-
played
as soon
Jalen Brown.
As soon as I realized this was the topic, I should have just said my voice was gone. That's what I should have done.
That's what I thought about doing when I.
Okay, this is what I mean.
Noah, this is how I
okay,
felt.
Thank you.
This is how
This
I
is what I
felt
mean, John. Look at this comment.
Before the show began, when I thought I was going to be doing 55 million minutes of Amari Williams talk,
John, look at
and
this
I
comment.
and I did it. I did it anyway. Yeah.
This is what I
What's
mean.
that?
This is not how like. Gee, this is not how people like think about it. You know.
But that's how he views what
But that's
he had
not
to
the
do.
point. The point is he knows the organization and everyone around them treats Tatum as the number one guy, and he's the second.
And he's
fiddle.
been in trade talks every time that there's been a trade discussion. He's
Every
talked about all
time.
of this.
I mean, he's clearly felt this. This
And
is not
when we were in
new.
Miami, John, unprompted, I asked because he got benched in that game, right? And the game turned around a little bit when he was out, and I was like, "What's that like having to watch that?" And he's like, "I've played with Jason Tatum my whole career." Why'd you have to mention Tatum?
That's not.
We can debate. We can debate
Bob, you asked
how
him
it's.
about what it would like to see somebody on a heater, and it's like he's obviously played with guys. Like he just meant like Anthony at 39. Like he's seen guys have great performances. I don't think he meant
How it plays is debatable. The fact that Jalen views it this way is not debatable. That's the
Right.
thing. So what's interesting is how it plays out, and it may play out perfectly fine and beautiful.
That's what I'm
but
saying, yeah.
But Jalen has made it perfectly clear that I've shown you I can do it. Right now, what? Like I'm the guy. I've been the guy.
And we haven't
if
had
it
any
goes-
drop
if
off.
If it goes back to the old dynamic, it is a step back from Jalen Brown. He's now.
I mean, these are his
ceding-
words now.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
putting words in his mouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're not. We're
And
not.
listen, I'll give him credit. He has avoided that topic of I've had to sacrifice, and this year is about me showing what I can do. Right from day one, it was one of the first questions asked on media day was whether that was what this year is going to be about. And I feel like for 90% of the season, he's steered clear of that and made it about team. Not saying that he has to do that. I think he's within his rights to flex his abilities and what he's shown here. And I've said over and over again, and the chat's not going to like this, he's every bit as good as Tatum when he's playing
There you
at
go.
his level. And he can be better on any given night. And there should be some trade-off between those two atop this team. It's not clearly Tatum then Brown. It's Tatum and Brown.
Let's spin the wheel and let Nona take the
Aiden
conversation in
Aiden
whatever
Pritchard
direction
has an
she wants to
injury that
go.
he told us about in his post-game press conference.
Yeah, his
He's been
pinky.
dealing with a finger injury for a month now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he said he just popped it again today. But since the last Portland game, he hurt that finger. So he said him and Drew were talking about their pinky injuries.
The mallet finger.
He
Is it a
didn't
mallet
say it was
finger?
mallet finger. Actually, what I wanted, I couldn't remember what the name of Drew's thing was. So I was curious about that. But he has been dealing with it. He said it's just part of being a basketball player.
And Drew played through that and played pretty well for like
But
a
Drew
long
missed some
time.
time.
last
Hayden hasn't
season.
missed any time.
Yeah. I
He
was
looked like he
stunned
was
when
in a lot
Peyton
of
left the
pain.
game. Yeah, he
But
never
then he
leaves
came
the
right back
game.
in. So I was like, okay, he's fine. I would hate for him to miss like substantial time, because you never know with a hand injury. Sometimes it looks like they're just going like this, and then it's like fractured, you know?
Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw that.
But it was just the same figure, I guess, has been popping in and out.
He left hand too, which is good. Not on the shooting hand.
Noah, next topic.
Oh, are we just rapid firing?
No. You get to pick them all now. The rest of the way.
Okay.
This is a palette.
Ron Harper Jr. named to the Rising Stars game.
Man, how about
Harper
that?
Jr.
They're sending Ron Harper, and they're not.
He's one of 7
Ugo.
G League players that was selected to the Rising
Ugo
Stars
go
game.
as a G.
I wanted to
Ugo
see
was
Ugo.
not selected as one of the 10 rookies. He was not selected. Some are saying he was snubbed.
Who made the team?
I don't know.
From
The
the
NBA.
rookies.
I don't know how this stuff gets picked. But no Ugo. I thought that we were going to have Ugo and Ron.
I thought
and
they'd
obviously
have
Jalen will
Ugo.
be an all-star starter. Ugo is the thing with Ugo is that his advanced numbers are the best of all the rookies.
He
His
scores like
on-off
4 points
impact,
a
his
game.
defensive.
But
he's
the
just,
counting stats are bad.
it's just the counting stats are so much smaller, so it's just hard to. I understand like where he got left off. And he
The
played
names
longer.
on the list are pretty good. Coward, Harper, Yeoman,
Yeah.
Johnson, Edgecombe, Canupo, who's been unreal, Fears, Murray Boyles, who I've liked, Flag, and Queen. That's a pretty good list of rookies. I don't know who he would have made it over on that list. Maybe Jaeger, Demon. But
The guy who's been complaining about the entire Jaylen Brown conversation, this guy is just
Andrew, what do you want to talk about? How can
Andrew
we keep you on the
ranting
show?
the whole time we've been talking about Brown. Just say, Ron Harper, I'm out. Done.
Listen, it's all fun and games. Who cares about Ron Harper? Until Ron
Some
Harper.
people just want to watch the world burn.
But listen, nobody
yeah.
nobody would have wanted to talk about Amari Williams like 5 weeks ago, but now we want to talk about.
I
it. So I'm
didn't
just
want to
giving you
talk
guys-
about him tonight, but I did for so long.
no, are you going to All Star now that Ron's on the? on the team?
It's looking like I'm going to All Star, Bobby. It's looking like I'm going to All Star. And so, yeah, I think you look at him as a potential guy that could come in and potentially be an impactful player. I wouldn't be shocked if he's eventually on a standard contract. I wouldn't be shocked if he's eventually on a standard contract in Boston.
Ron?
This is his fourth. Yeah, I think so.
Ron?
I don't know. I have no issue with Ron, but I don't know.
We're talking about Ron?
I mean, maybe. I'm not gonna deny that's possible.
I'm clipping this and I'm sending this to Ron as motivation.
No, I like Ron. I'm trying.
All I said is that he's going to be on a standard contract one day. He's been on
Here?
4 ways.
Okay, I mean somewhere, yes, but I don't know
I don't
about
know. We'll
here.
see. Let's see.
Yeah, that's funny
If
shit.
JD couldn't make it here, I don't know about Ron. I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll see.
All right, what else we got?
This is fun.
Yeah,
Porzingis is back on Wednesday. You excited?
No, he's not playing though.
but he's not playing.
Yeah, it stinks.
And he
He's not
ducked
really
us. He
back.
ducked us in Atlanta, and he wouldn't talk. And now he's coming here and not
it was
playing.
tough.
I will say it was nice to see Drew and Rob actually play. Like it was fun to see a guy because I'm so used to Rob obviously not playing and Drew didn't play last
And looking
time, but
good.
They both looked great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drew looked great. I don't know how much you guys. I'm sure you guys.
Holiday,
thought-
I thought looked great, and this was another thing I talked about
John
earlier.
didn't like what I said about.
Yeah, because Bobby comes in, he just immediately pointed out like his 2 bad plays, and like
No, I said White. I said White and who else? Someone else beat him. I was like, the Celtics beat him downhill a couple of times. And
Does
got fouled.
Porzingis get a video?
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure. Anybody, all
absolutely.
the title players are gonna get a video.
And Joe actually talked about Drew pregame. I was shocked.
I know.
I
You
will
asked him about
never.
it?
I will never be able to watch a pregame video. I mean, a return video without thinking of Grant Williams.
He didn't get one, right?
No,
He got the handshake wave.
He got it. He
And
got
we did
it. Thanks for Grant Williams.
I think that was one
And
of
they
my
showed
first
him on the
CLNS videos.
scoreboard. Huh?
That was one of my first CLNS videos that I did with Bobby. It was about Grant Williams.
Should Grant have gotten a
I was so
better-
passionate about the fact that he should have gotten one, and I'm not even like a Grant Williams enthusiast.
Was that our
That was-
first video?
It was one of our first videos. Our first video was about Jordan Walsh, actually, fittingly. I know because I've gone back and my eyes are like darting around the screen during that. But Grant Williams, I think, is a perfect example of a guy who, like, if he was on a title team, that he gets a video. You know what I mean?
Rob got like a little like 5-second thing too. They screwed all those guys that year when they came back. They did not get good videos, and
I know
who's behind that. And I'm not gonna say it.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Wow. Just tune in tomorrow.
Yeah.
That is something. But yeah, no, I do feel bad. Rob didn't get his due, but the Grant thing, it was
And
like,
listen, I get it, right? You win a championship,
so
it's a whole
sad.
different discussion. We did it for Joe Sway, remember too? We were going to do a
I
tribute
know,
for him
I
when
know,
he was
I
leaving,
did.
and we gave him the grant.
I did that little bit. So
Yeah,
that was
that was
fun.
great.
We're gonna wrap it up.
By the way, Grant back from his ACL tear. Happy for him.
He's doing stuff. We do want to let you guys know, subscribe to the Patriots YouTube channel if you're interested in
Are you going to
Patriots
Super Bowl,
content.
John?
Hells yeah, I'm going to the Super Bowl. This is going to be.
Is Jimmy going?
I got more Super Bowl appearances than Brady's got rings. I'll tell you that right now.
I think Jimmy
okay?
deserves to go after doing
How
a
many
couple
Super Bowl
post games.
appearances do you have?
This will be my eighth.
How many rings does Brady have?
7.
7?
One with
But
Tampa.
so I missed a couple of the Brady ones, but I've gone to pretty much every single Super Bowl, during this run, which is great, and it's just always an amazing time. But we'll be out there along with Taylor Kyles, Mike Cadlick. We'll bring the whole gang out there, the production crew, a bunch of other people who do podcasts with the CLNS Media Network will be there. Of course, Andrew Callahan, Doug Kai, Greg Bedard, Mike Giardi. So we're going to be just rolling live programming throughout, the week there. Lots of cool interviews. We'll be setting up a lot of fun stuff, and then just get to hang with the teams for a week, and then who knows what happens, anybody's game. So it should be a lot of fun. We did have, a lot of fun this last weekend with the crazy snow game in Denver, and here we go. Buckle up.
Can I issue a former apology?
Yeah.
I think I kind of did know how many rings Brady had, but I shouldn't have asked on the show. The chat is happy.
They're mad. Get out of here!
This is a Celtics show, chat. I never said I.
What's your gut say, John?
My gut says Seattle's not like some.
Oh, we lost John right before his prediction.
Why didn't we lose John during the Tatum Brown segment?
He was crystal clear during that.
He was crystal clear.
I heard that. Seattle's not. Look, are the Pats like here too soon? Yeah. Are they kind of a weaker entry? Absolutely. Did they benefit from a weak schedule? Yeah. But they've allowed 2 touchdowns the entire postseason. They've beaten everybody in front of them. They're the second highest point differential throughout the year, and they're pretty freaking healthy. Seattle's not some world-beating team. This isn't running into a juggernaut. Seattle is a good team. Could it go off the rails? Absolutely. Seattle poses problems. Could Sam Darnold wilt and turn into a prior version of himself? Yeah, he could. This is not. I think a lot of people are like, oh, the Super Bowl was played in the NFC game. That's not necessarily the case. So don't sleep on the Pats here. I absolutely don't think that this is. I don't think that Noah's down with this. I don't think that this is. The national media is going to paint this as an absolute dud of a game that Seattle's going to walk away with, and it's not the case. No one knows. So yeah, make sure you check it out. Nonstop coverage, probably starting tomorrow when those guys get back from the snowstorm. So make sure that you keep it here. Of course, subscribe to the Garden Report and CLNS Media Network as well for all that good stuff. You know the deal by now. Turn on your notifications, subscribe to all our YouTube channels, and have at it. We've gone 137 on the Amari Williams ascendance game today. And
that was a nice pleasant surprise tonight.
We did it.
Drew,
and that's it.
Yeah, all that.
Drew, all that good stuff. And thank you, Noah. Thank you, Bobby. Thanks, Amit, who's producing this show from out in Denver. Stranded, couldn't get home. Thanks, Jimmy Toscano, who was dead dog ass tired, and I forced him on the show
all day.
We didn't have anybody else to do, and he was working all day. He just got home, so thank you, Jimmy. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. We are back on Wednesday. The Kristaps Porzingis-less Atlanta Hawks coming to the Garden. We will have a full post-game show as always. Until then, we will see you guys later. Take care.